So today what we're going to do is we're going to pick up where we left off last Friday. Last Friday, we inserted images into our web pages that we created, correct? Mm-hmm. Did everyone finish that? Yes. Are we close to finishing? I think everyone finished, got something inserted into their web page. So now where we're headed is back into our dear friend debugging. Before we do that, though, we're going to have a quick, fast review. So first off, everybody get to Lesson 8, Bubble 1 in code.org. Get there. I'll know you're there when you tilt your screen. And then you're going to turn around and watch me for a bit. We're going to talk for a bit, and then we'll go from there. So go ahead and get logged into code.org. Get to Lesson 8, Bubble 1. It says Clean Code and Debugging. Once you're there, would you please tilt your screen? Once you're there, will you please tilt your screen? Lesson 8, Bubble 1. We're there? Check your neighbor. Tilt your screens. Awesome, you're all great. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick, fast review. Are you ready? Because this all ties in together today. We are coding. What language are we using? HTML. Oh my gosh, you're brilliant. HTML. Who knows what that stands for? Oh, please, 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 somebody know. Everybody?
Hypertext markup language.
Wow. Hypertext markup language. You're all brilliant. Give yourselves an A. Yeah? Did y'all say it with me? Say it again.
Hypertext markup language.
Perfect. Exactly. So we've been using that language. What's the purpose of it? What is coding? What does HTML do for us?
It helps us write, we make things happen on a computer using code. Ooh, go back into your brains. What are those 4 things we talked about which makes a computer actually a computer? Do you remember them? Do you remember one or all or however many you want to say? Input, she said. Perfect. Processing. What's that mean? It takes all the information in and goes over it.
Okay. So input means what? Takes in information, right? Processing does something with it. Is that kind of what you're saying? What is the next thing?
Storage.
Storage. What's that all about?
It stores the information.
Very good. Very good. And output. So what does what we're doing with HTML have to do with all of that? Talk about that. We have those 4 things that make up a computer. What does this HTML coding do for that? How does it connect to that? Give me something. We're taking in. The input is the code we're writing down. Then what happens? It processes the code, understands what we're putting in. Awesome. What else? Think about those 4 things. Give me another. It stores it. How many people in here flipped on your web page to add a photo to and your information was still there? Yay, right? That's because there's storage involved. And what's the other thing? And what does output have to do with all of this? Tell me.
It shows what your code did.
Very good. It shows what your code did. So in simple terms, we've got this handled, right? Now we're going on. We're going to quick, fast remember all the different pieces of code we've learned. Shall we? Who remembers? I'm going to make a list. Who remembers? Make it a Google Doc. Give me some HTML. Give me the tags we've created or that we've used to create code. Give me one. Open P. What does that mean? I'll just do it myself because it'll go faster. What's Open P do? And then we know everything we start, we must close it. Very awesome. So that's a paragraph tag. Give me another one. Give me another one. The H one. What does the H one everybody? Heading. So what do we know is different about this one than the P?
You add a number.
You add a number. What are my choices for numbers? 1 through 6. Awesome. What's the biggest?
1.
Ah, so I would make H1. That would make my biggest heading, right? And then we remember after it, what would we do? Close H1, definitely. If we wanted the smallest heading available with our HTML coding, which one would we choose? H?
6.
Perfect. Okay, give me another tag that we have learned along with this. Image. Ooh, you're going with a hard one. Who remembers? I started it. Open IMG. What comes next? Space. Then what? SRC. Equals. Quotes. And then whatever the name of your file is, right? Then what? End quotes. Then what? Space. ALT. Equals. And then we're going to put something in here. What are we putting in here? What are we putting in here? A nickname for our first file. So in here we have image source equals, that's the name of the file that we have downloaded or we have created or we're going to use. That's the real name. Then we're going to give it a nickname with ALT equals, and then we're going to give it that nickname. So if this is file number 1.24.jpg, this one might say kitty cat. So we know what that image is. What am I missing in this piece of code? The close, definitely. All right. Boy, you went with a hard one first. I'm proud of you. Give me another one. Ooh, give me another one. Somebody give me another one. I know you know another. List. How many kinds of lists did we learn? 2. Give me them. One is an ordered list, which means we have what? Numbers. We're going to make a numbered list. How do I start that? Open OL. Definitely. Open OL. That tells the computer, yoo-hoo, wake up. We're going to make an ordered list. Now what happens after we open the OL? LI. What's the LI mean? A list item, what we call a list item. LI is a list item. We're going to put our thing that's going to be on the list. There's our list item. We're going to type it out. And then what do we have at the end of our list item? Close L. Oops, sorry. Close LI. Now we're closing our list item right there. What about my next thing on my list? What if I want to say my favorite Halloween candy is? That's going to be the top of my list. I want an ordered list. My favorite one is a Snickers bar. That would be number 1. What am I going to do for my second one?
You do open LI.
Open LI.
Or whatever candy, and then close LI.
And a close LI. Definitely. And we're going to do that for every single thing on my list. Let's say I do a top 10 list of candy I love. I've got all 10 of these list items finished. What do I want at the end?
Close OL.
Close OL. And it closes my list. There's another list, though. Micaiah knows. UL? What the heck's a UL? An unordered list, which means what? Dots. Bullet points, dots. Yes. And so I'm going to open up my UL. What's the next thing I do then? Open LI. And then close LI. Same as before, right? And then what do we do when our unordered list is finished? Our bulleted list has been created. What then? Close my LI. So I'm going to do that, right? No! UL. Darn, I messed up. Now, I just messed up, right? What happens when you mess up in coding? Well, in this case, our code turns pink. What else happens?
You got a strange result.
You get a strange result. Good way to put it. Sometimes the picture doesn't appear. Sometimes all at once, all of our text is this giant heading one size, and I didn't need for it to be that.
So now what we're going to do today is go back to, is that all of them that we've learned so far? The image, lists, paragraphs, and headings?
That's right.
So far, so good. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to go back here. You're going to stay and sit for a second. We're going to remember what debugging is before we continue on. What is debugging? Because that's what you're going to do today. We're going to relive all of this. What is debugging? And why do we use it? And what? Tell me about it.
Taking out the bugs so it will actually work.
Taking out the bugs so it will actually work. Definitely. How many of you so far in this class have had issues with your code at least once? Is there anybody who's been perfect every time? It's hard to be perfect, isn't it? I showed you that just a minute ago, just typing your list up. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go through, you're going to use code.org, you're going to practice your debugging skills. This gives you a chance to show me that you know what you're doing. You're going to look through these pieces of code that have been written. You're going to look in the workspace, you're going to see where the errors occur. I'm going to refer you back to the top. Don't forget the instructions are up here because today that will make a difference. And so it's telling you right there, computer code's written by humans, and guess what? All humans make mistakes. And so today that's what you're going to do is you're going to debug it. You're going to clear up the mistakes that are there. So the directions will be here. For instance, this page, you're going to make yours look like the example up here at the top. So that's what you need to do. And so once you're finished reading the directions, you think you know where you're headed, you're welcome to collapse those and start working down here. The only problem is when you collapse them this time, you don't get to see your example, so you may not want to collapse it all the way. You may want to be able to see this, which it should be easy to still work down here with that. Okay? If you are making a change, don't forget, one thing you can do, turn your inspector on. When you turn the inspector on, you could say there's something wrong right here. Let's say your heading is wrong, and it's going to get you to where your heading is, and it's going to help you figure out what's wrong there. Already it shows you there's a heading wrong. You're lucky it turns it pink for you, that one did. But the rest may not be so easy to find because you need to make it look just like that, okay? So, if you're doing this, we're going to go through bubble 2, 3, and 4. All of those deal with debugging. Once you get through all 4 of those, you can let me know, and then I'm going to come over and check them. If you have trouble, your neighbor's available for pair programming in case you need help. Your neighbor can help you. Does that mean you need to stop your neighbor every 2 seconds and say, hey, I don't get this?
No.
No. What do you do if you don't understand something the first time?
Raise your hand. Or
Really? What do you do if you don't understand something the first time you try it?
You look back into
You look back and you
the code and see what's wrong.
might try it again? Really? Wow. I think most of you do. I think I've seen that happen. Okay, so that old thing, if at first you don't succeed, try again. And I am always available. I'll be wandering around to help you just like always, but don't forget your neighbor is there too. This should be fairly simple because I think so far you're way above what they're going to show you here. So let's just look at this first page. Open up your screens, go to bubble 2, and tell me what's wrong. You tell me what's wrong on bubble 2. We're going to look for the directions up there at the top. What is missing? What's wrong? Pardon me? The number 2? What are you talking about, the number 2? Oh, yes, number 2 on the list is wrong? I agree. How do we fix number 2 on the list? I've got my inspector on. I'm going to go down here. I'm going to look at this. Well, look what I'm going to do. Do you remember how I told you it's okay to make breaks in your code? I'm going to hit return so I can say there's where my ordered list begins. So you tell me it's an open LI, a close LI. Here's thing number 2. What's missing? Huh?
Open a line.
Open LI, definitely. And then a close LI after that. They've really messed this one up, haven't they? Now thing 3 then, when I do that, if I refresh and save, it's still something not right. What am I missing then? Open LI, the close LI, and then just so I can keep track, I'm going to redo that. So now, let's see what happens when I refresh and save. Uh-oh. Did it work?
Yep.
Perfect. Now there's something wrong. Something else is wrong. This doesn't quite look like that. What would it be?
Wrong number.
The wrong number.
Or
Hello, wrong number. Hello, wrong number. You taught what number? My phone number? You don't
I thought
know?
it was the wrong number.
What wrong number?
On the
The
header.
heading. Ah, on the heading. Thank you, sir.
Oh, that's
So we're looking for wrong number. Okay, fine. So on the heading, seriously, we're going to the heading. It starts with an H3 and ends with an H1. Do I see a problem with that? What do you see? What do you think it should be?
H3.
H3? H1? Let's argue that one out. Why would you pick H1?
If you look on the thing that shows you what it should look like,
The heading's bigger than everything else. So she thinks it should be. What do you think on H3? Why are you saying H3?
I just said H3 because that's what I did.
Oh. Does it match what you have up above? Does it match your example?
No, kind of.
Seriously. Is it the same size?
No.
No. Bingo bongo. So, it looks the same, yeah, because it's still bolded, but it's not the same size. We are looking for an exact representation of what's above. So, in that case, what are we choosing for the heading? Micaiah says? H1, and that's what I'm going to do too. So, go ahead, and we closed H1. Look at it now, Thomas. What do you think? It's the same. Whee! Okay, here we go. So, are you ready? You have to do bubble 2, bubble 3, and bubble 4 all by yourselves. Give it a whirl and see if you can do it. Remember, what's the biggest problem when we add in an image? What's the biggest mistake? SCR or SRC. So make sure you do SRC before you do SCR. Okay? Everybody go at it. See how it goes.
You want us to do bubble 5 if we're done with
Just go through 4. You're welcome to, yes. If you want to go on, go ahead and go on. If you know what you're doing, you can go on, but otherwise, stop at 4 and we'll be happy. That one's a mess. That's why bubble 5, I kind of stopped it because that is a mess. If you want to challenge yourself, go on to bubble 5 when you're finished. It, as Preston just said, is a total mess. So see what you can do.